All right, I just had to make a little rant video. This won't be edited or won't be very good audio probably either, but I wanted to talk about an electrical contractor who came out and basically I have some issues in the basement with a three-way switch. That's where you have a switch on one side and a switch on the other side of the room. It controls one light. Well, it worked for quite a while, and now it started like flickering out and just not working. And now it just doesn't work at all. So I tried to change out the switches. Tried to look at some basic things like making sure the wiring connections were tight. Anyway, the point is not really about the minutia of that, but about the just the professionalism that I think should be expected of any contractor. I do mobile auto repair, and I'm just going to kind of compare and contrast the way they treated me to the way I try to treat my customers. Um, the main thing to me is you don't sell the biggest service that you can possibly sell. You should try to sell whatever fixes the problem. You should do the minimum amount that fixes the problem. If you want to try to tell them, to do something else, be upfront and honest about it and say, your problem is fixed. Here's some other things you could do, but they're not necessary. He tried to act like it was a bigger problem than it is, and that's another huge thing in automotive, in probably other things. I'm not going to pretend something is a bigger issue than it is. Like if your spark plugs are probably worn, it's been a while since you've changed them, you can let it ride for a while. It's not some kind of life or death issue. You might get a little, decrease in performance. Yeah, it's good to change them out as scheduled, but is it some kind of safety issue? Is it really that big of a deal? No, typically not. Same thing with brakes. The first time you hear a little squeaking, you've got quite a while left. As long as your brake pedal feels good, it's high, you're fine. Um, so I try to let customers know that. I try to let them know, what's a safety issue and what's not, what really needs to be done and what's not. Um, but I feel like with what they did to me, they just I let them, I gave them every opportunity to see that it had to be some kind of small issue. I think it's an issue with the wire nuts where the terminals are not, they're not twisted before the wire nut is put on, in several locations. And my son likes to jump around a lot, so I'm thinking maybe that has something to do with it. But what he didn't realize, and what I even told him several times, is I have experience with this type of circuit. I've wired two of these three-way switch circuits before, and one that was a four-way switch, which is even more complicated. So I know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't like being talked down to. That's another thing. You shouldn't talk down to your customers, and I never do. I mean, I usually tell people, I'm just here because you probably don't have the tools that I do. I like to collect tools. I can put these tools to work for you. The stuff's pretty simple. You're just paying me because, maybe I've done this a few times and I've got the tools. So you don't make the customer feel stupid. So this guy kind of made me feel stupid, made me feel like it was a bigger issue than it really was. And they wanted to charge, like, the quote was like $750. There's no way in hell that wiring issue is $750. In the worst case, I'll just make sure all the connections are made down there to any other circuits. I'll take out the wires for that circuit that goes to those two lights, and I'll just rewire the damn thing, because that's something I've done several times, three times before. It's not like we're dealing with drywall. It's a basement where the wires are visible. They just go right through the rafters, So it's not quite the big deal that he was making it. So I guess to summarize, you know, don't make your customers feel stupid. Don't try to sell them more than they actually need. And if they say that they want to try to do it themselves, in a lot of cases, yeah, maybe they shouldn't. But in my case, where I've done this before, tell them, hey, okay, I understand you want to, times are tough. You want to keep your bill low. You want to try to do something yourself. Here are a few pointers. Here are things that you should maybe try. That's how you should treat your customer. You shouldn't be out to, uh, you know, take every dime that they have and make them feel dumb in the process. So that's just my little rant. Um, Sorry, just had to get that off my chest.